Furniture has a weird problem now. It often costs more, but feels worse. Not always when you first buy it. That part comes later, when the couch softens too fast, or the drawer starts wobbling, or something expensive somehow feels temporary. So what are you actually paying for now? Because this is not just inflation, and it is not just nostalgia either. There is a quieter shift happening in how furniture gets made, sold, and judged. And once you see that shift, a lot of that low-level disappointment starts making sense. If you like videos that unpack the hidden systems behind why everyday life feels more expensive, lower value, or slightly off, subscribe. That is what this channel is built for. Furniture creates a very specific kind of frustration. When food gets expensive, you notice it fast. When fuel jumps, you feel it almost instantly. But furniture is different. The disappointment is slower, which makes it harder to explain. You do not usually think, this product was shaped by a completely different set of incentives than I assumed. You just feel something is off. It looks good. The styling works. The price felt serious. So why does it not feel as solid as it should? Because people do not just buy furniture for function. They buy a feeling too. Comfort, stability, trust. The sense that this thing belongs in your life for years, not just for now. So when the price says one thing, but the product feels like something else, the gap stands out. And that gap is where the real story starts. The obvious explanation is rising cost. Materials cost more. Transport costs more. Labor costs more. That part is real. But if that were the whole story, the outcome would be simpler. Same quality, higher price. That is not always what people are noticing. Here is what is actually happening. A piece of furniture today does not just have to be good. It has to survive a completely different kind of journey than furniture from 30 years ago. It has to photograph well, because the first time most people see it is on a screen, not in a showroom. It has to ship flat, because the logistics cost of moving assembled furniture across a continent or an ocean is prohibitive. It has to arrive without damage, because the return rate on furniture is already one of the highest in retail, and every return destroys margin. It has to hit a price point, because comparison shopping is now one click away, and people will not scroll past the third result. And it has to look premium enough in the first 30 seconds of contact to survive the instinct to send it back. Those are not furniture requirements. Those are logistics, photography, and e-commerce requirements. And they quietly reshape every decision made before the product reaches you. Think about what flat pack engineering actually requires. Joints that can be assembled by a consumer with an Allen key. Panels light enough to ship cheaply, but dense enough to feel substantial at first touch. Finishes that look rich in a photo, but are often a few millimeters of veneer or foil wrap over engineered board. The global furniture market is now worth over $600 billion. The flat pack and ready-to-assemble segment has grown faster than almost any other category in the last 2 decades. That is not an accident. It reflects a system that has been quietly optimizing for shipping efficiency and visual appeal, at the same time as it has been charging more. So the furniture still looks good enough to justify the price. It just does not always feel built to justify it over time. A lot of modern furniture is not bad at creating desire. It is bad at holding up to the promise that desire created. And here is where the trade-off shows itself most clearly. When a business is under pressure, it protects the parts that sell the product first. The visible parts, the easy-to-feel parts, the parts that perform well on a screen. The weaker trade-offs hide deeper inside, in the structure, in the materials underneath, in the joints you only stress test after 6 months of real use. So the product feels convincing on day one, while aging much faster than the buyer expected. That is why this category is so frustrating. The disappointment is delayed. And delayed disappointment hits differently, because by the time you fully understand it, the purchase is already behind you. You are no longer judging what you bought. You are living with it. This pattern is not unique to furniture. It shows up anywhere the visible experience can be improved faster than the long-term experience can be tested. Appliances that look premium but use cheaper internal components than a decade ago. Clothing that photographs beautifully but thins out after 10 washes. Electronics with impressive specs on the box and disappointing battery life after a year. The mechanism is the same every time. Modern retail systems reward products that convert quickly. They do not reward products that hold up quietly over years. Because by the time you find out, the sale is already done. Of course, this is not the whole story. Inflation matters, labor costs matter, material volatility matters, and some furniture really is better than people give it credit for. But this is still one important layer behind the pattern. When businesses face pressure, the parts customers notice first often get protected more than the parts they only discover later. So the next time a piece of furniture looks expensive, feels stylish, and still leaves you slightly unsure, that feeling may be picking up on something real. Not just higher prices, but a system where products are increasingly built to win the purchase first and prove themselves later. That is why furniture can cost more while feeling worse. Because sometimes you are not just paying for the object, you are paying for everything the object had to become in order to fit the system around it.